South Africa is a constitutional state. The constitution is supreme. How come the government can just suddenly decide you have no rights in terms of the constitution, such as, for instance, freedom of movement?
I must emphasize that you do still have your constitutional rights, just certain rights are currently limited. We are in exceptional circumstances and a state of disaster has been declared. When a state of disaster is declared, the government must still respect the Bill of Rights and your rights contained therein, but they can limit those rights, such as the freedom of movement. The act that we are currently under allows this, and that is why we are having the lockdown.
But what does it mean in the workplace, for instance? Do I have lesser rights there?
No, so I must again emphasize that all labor rights continue to exist. The law is still currently applicable, but might only be enforced after the passing of these events.
But then in the workplace, do you still have your normal rights or not?
Yes, all your normal rights in terms of the workplace continue to exist. Your employers are still expected to follow the letter of the law and will be held to account if they do take shortcuts.
Such as, for instance, forcing you to take leave?
Depending on what type of leave they force you to take, there are different provisions that apply. But again, they will still be expected to act in terms of the Basic Conditions of Employment Act. That means that if they do force you to take annual leave, they can only do so in terms of that act. I think it's very important to realize that Saturdays, Sundays, and public holidays cannot be included in the calculation of annual leave. If you then look at the 21 days of lockdown, that equates to an amount of 13 days of annual leave.
And then the whole question of your salary, for instance. The company might tell you, listen, these are difficult times, we are going to halve your salary.
I encourage employees to work with their employers on this point. The reality is that some employers might be experiencing troubles with their cash flow. If your employer does choose to give you a reduced salary, this amounts to a unilateral change of the terms and conditions of your agreement. You can choose to either accept these and continue to work in terms of the amended terms, or possibly look at losing your job and following a retrenchment process.
But if the company is in serious trouble and they say, well, we're going to liquidate, what then?
Again, your employer is still expected to follow the rules of law. They will still have to follow a proper process, and if they choose to follow a liquidation process, they will be forced to consult with each and every employee before they proceed with the liquidation.
And then, just generally speaking, what is the message that you want to give normal people who are going through very difficult times now?
I believe we each owe each other a duty of respect, humanity, and honesty during this difficult time. The law continues to apply and will be enforced after this event has passed. I encourage both employees and employers to act with accountability and the knowledge that the law both still protects them and regulates them.